At this time, I'd like to call the Wallingford Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Commission to order. The date is July 15th, 2020, and the time is 7 p.m. I want to remind you that this meeting is all virtual. It will be recorded, and you must be in the mute mode until you're called upon and want to speak. In other words, please mute your microphone until called on to speak, and then unmute. If we don't, we'll have such confusion. We'll be here a long night. So at this time, I'd like to start with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it's nation under God, indivisible, for justice, liberty, and justice
for all.
Okay, next will be roll call. Jim Vitale here.
Deborah Phillips here.
Here. Nick Kern.
Nick Kern here.
Mike Caruso. Holly McGee.
Here.
Robert Simon.
Present.
Jennifer Passaretti.
Here.
Very good.
Aaron O'Hare, environmental planner.
Good. So consideration of the minutes of the remote meeting on June 3rd, 2020. Erin has pointed out that she has a correction to the minutes. Erin, would you like to explain?
Yes. On page 9, it's item under violations, it's item number 3 regarding 122 Chimney Hill Road. I just want to change a word in the second paragraph where it says, but to cite Mr. Reed to apply for an after-the-fact permit. I would prefer to say, but to request Mr. Reed apply for an after-the-fact permit. And then on the next, if you go down the second sentence below that, it says the commissioner's unanimous consensus was to accept Mrs. O'Hare's recommendation. I'd like to insert, and the chair can approve it administratively. All one sentence. So right now it says the commissioner's unanimous consensus was to accept Mrs. O'Hare's recommendation. And the chair can approve it administratively, because we had talked about that. Is everyone okay with him applying to keep his ATV track in the upper edge of the upland review area? And everybody said, yes, that's
Okay.
If he applies, it's acceptable.
Okay, does everyone understand the request and a change in the minutes? Is there any other changes in the minutes? Then if not, entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the June 3rd meeting as submitted with the corrections made tonight.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Call for a vote. Debbie?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Mike? He's not here today. Ally?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And yes, Jim, yes. Okay, going on to old business. This is application A18, 1.2, 801 North Colonie and 6 Beaumont Road. This is for a bond release. Aaron?
They're not ready to go forward.
Well, what's holding them up, Aaron? Because the place looks pretty decent.
There's a number of smaller items that were forgotten or overlooked, but the biggest item is there's erosion at the bend in the river. You could really see it in the spring. Right now, the knotweed is grown in so thick you can't see it. But right at that bend, at the top, not down in the river channel, up at the top, it's really eroded, like badly. And that's because they redesigned it and too much water funnels down there. So I've asked their engineer, and they agreed, and they've asked, they're having their engineer redesign that area so that not so much water funnels down there. And they think it happened because they were going to put a second building in the front, and then they forego the second building. Second building they pulled out of the application. So somewhere in the mix, that grading should be better. It's not as good as it can be.
Well, have you given him a written list of what's not correct?
I'm verbalist. He wants it in writing, and I will give it to him in writing.
All right, you will give him a list in writing this week on what needs to be done?
Yes.
All right, going on to application 826.1 Quinnipiac River, State of Connecticut right of way, 150 Main Street and 68 Church Street. This is regarding the pipes underneath the two roads, 68 and 150 in Yalesville.
And that's the town of Wallingford Water Division.
Town of Wallingford Water Division. They got somebody here tonight?
Yes, I'm Tom Flannery, engineer planner with Water Sewer.
Let's see, Tom Knowlton, Tom Flannery and Tom Knowlton are representing them.
Yes,
We also have Matt Sanford from Mylona McBroom on the line.
Yeah, he's down by
All right,
Island.
well, do you guys want to make a presentation?
sure. We have a quick overview of the project, and we can have direct questions to myself, Thomas, and Matt. We're looking to rehab the existing pipe hanging on the bridges on Route 68 and Route 150 overpasses over the Quinnipiac River. Basically, what we do is replace any couplings, hangers, any corroded materials, replace the installation across the entire span of the bridge. The wetlands implications are that in the worst case scenario, we may have to work from underneath the bridge, so there may be some temporary scaffolding that has to be in place. That is the worst case scenario. If they can have materials, such as a snooper rig to work on the top, that won't be necessary. And I won't field any general questions as far as the pipe installation or any technical questions. Thomas Knowlton from Mylona McBroom will handle any wetlands protections or installation methods, and Matt Sanford also from Mylona McBroom will answer any environmental questions or.
All right, commissioners, any questions?
No,
Nick?
Jim, I have one question. Are they going to be disturbing the bank alongside of the bridge?
They will a little bit to create an access way. Again, this is the worst case scenario where we're going to have a construction access pad to get down underneath if the scaffolding is required to work underneath the bridge.
All right, I'm only concerned because the water comes up quite rapidly when we have thunderstorms. I just don't want to see any erosion or severe erosion around where you're going to put this pad. So I'd make sure you double thought into stabilizing what you're going to do, right?
Yes, anything below the floodway will, in lieu of a major tropical storm or a large rain event, will have to be removed 24 hours in advance.
How long will this project take you?
Tom, can you answer that, please?
Yeah, this is Tom Knowlton with Mylona McBroom. Sorry, I don't have video on my desktop, only audio, but the actual construction on the bridges, there are two bridges, Main Street and Church Street. Each bridge would likely be about one month or so, maybe a month and a half on each bridge. The actual total duration of the project is longer than that, obviously, because we'd have submittal process and final closeout and that sort of thing. But The actual time working under the bridge is probably going to be about a month for each bridge.
When was the plan to start this?
This is budgeted for the next fiscal year, so work cannot begin until after July 1st, next summer.
Any other comments, commissioners? We got Debbie. You were okay, Debbie?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Ally?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Robert?
I'm okay with it, yes.
Jennifer?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Aaron?
Thank you. All right, so my environmental planners report on this project dated July 10th went out in the packet that was delivered to the commissioners on Friday, last Friday. And I will draw your attention to page 4. I recommend approval of this application. And I put forth 8 suggested conditions of approval in there. I don't know if we want to read all of them, but I guess it's important to see if the applicant is comfortable with all 8 conditions of approval.
Is the applicant satisfied with the conditions of approval?
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
Of approval.
Is the applicant, you fellas, are you agreeable to the 8 conditions of approval?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And
I guess I have a question just about, I'll draw the attention to one of them that is about, it's number 2. Trying to save, there's 2 very big sycamore trees apparently that need to come down in order to get the access route down in there, down the bank. Is it possible to shift it left or right a little bit to save one or both of those trees? Maybe you could look at that in the field.
Yes, we can. We're trying to shift that path a little bit towards the bridge itself. Maybe we can save at least 1 tree, possibly both. It's something we looked at in the field.
they've agreed to it, Aaron, so they must be willing to try to save them. They've won.
Okay, great, because these trees, the roots hold in the bank, so it'd be good to try to save those trees. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Is there any comments, any other comments, public wise? If not, I'll now entertain a motion regarding significant activity.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on application IWWC A 20-6.1, Quinnipiac River, State of Connecticut, rights of way, Route 150, Main Street, and Route 68 Church Street be deemed not a significant activity.
Is there a second?
Second,
Motion made and second. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Nick,
yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Ally,
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay, and now, huh? We need 5. Okay, okay, motion passed. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny this application.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on application IWWC A 20-6.1, Quinnipiac River, State of Connecticut, rights of way, Route 150 Main Street and Route 68 Church Street be accepted with the conditions of approval in the planner's report of July 10th, 2020.
Been made. Is there a second?
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Debbie,
Yes.
Nick,
yes.
Ally,
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved. Our application. Okay, going on to A 20-6.2, 155 East Street, Town of Wallingford Sewer Division. Anybody here from the sewer division?
Good evening. I am Neil Amwick, General Manager for the Wallingford Water and Sewer Divisions. With me is Dennis Setsko, Mike Erickson, and Maureen Crowley from AECom. This is about soil stockpile areas at the wastewater treatment plant. We do have a brief presentation that was provided to the commission ahead of time, so we can either walk through that paper-wise, or we can share our screen with you. What is the preference of the commission?
Why don't you share the screen? You're not going to go through the whole presentation. You're basically, instead of removing the material from site, you're going to stockpile it and create a berm and planting on it and grass it, topsoil, etc.
That is a very succinct synopsis of what we are planning to do. We have additional excess soil on the site based on excavation for the buildings. We take the soil out, the buildings go in, we have a surplus. We are planning to put it on 2 areas on site. One we call the north area and one we call the south area. And so the Inland Wetlands Watercourse package provides some details of those, including the grading plans as well as the planting plans. And we have included surface water runoff arrows on each of those.
Well, I know it's a presentation, but it's just a stockpile of material. Is there anything that we should be aware of in your presentation? Is there any surprises that's going to take place?
There are no surprises.
Okay, runoff is controlled. Aaron has reviewed the project.
Correct. And, I do want to thank Erin. She has walked the site with us twice, once in December and once about 2 weeks ago on a very hot and humid morning. So, she has issued her environmental planner report. We find the recommendations and the conditions acceptable.
Hey, commissioners, any comments, questions?
No.
Debbie, Nick?
No,
No, Robert this time?
Negative. No questions.
Jennifer?
Nothing from me.
Same here, clear. Okay, Aaron, you got any comments?
No, except as Neil Amwick already mentioned, my environmental planners report dated July 10th went out in the commission's packet. They received it last Friday. And there are 4 suggested conditions of approval, which Mr. Amwick has just indicated they accept.
Is there any comments from the public? If not, then I'll entertain a motion regarding significant activity.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that application IWWC A20-6.2, 155 East Street, Town of Wallingford Sewer Division Water Pollution Control Facility Phosphorus Reduction Project be deemed not a significant activity.
Motion made. Is there a second?
second,
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, call for a vote. Debbie?
Yes.
Nick?
yes,
Robert?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny this application.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that application A20-6.2, 155 East Street, Town of Wallingford Sewer Division Water Pollution Control Facility Phosphorus Reduction Project be approved with the conditions that are in the planner's report of July 10th, 2020.
Motion made. Is there a second?
second,
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Debbie?
Yes.
Nick?
yes,
Robert?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And yes. Application A 20, 6.3. 454 Main Street and 120 Church Street, Meeting House, Brook, United Concrete.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear us
Yes.
okay?
Yes,
Ready? For the record, my name is Megan Raymond. I'm a wetland scientist with my Colonie group, and we're representing United Concrete on the application before you this evening. With me tonight is Kishore Patel, who is the structural engineer on the project, as well as the site owner, John Gavin. And what we are looking to do this evening, this is a property on Church Street that United Concrete has common ownership over 2 parcels in this location, on Main Street and Church Street. And there is the Meeting House Brook bisects the 2 properties. And the applicant seeks to install an internal span over Meeting House Brook, a clear span over the brook, in order to increase site efficiency as well as increase job site safety by reducing traffic on the frontage roads. What we're looking to do, we initiated a project by conducting a existing site conditions inspection that included a wetland delineation. In this location, we are just downstream of the railroad crossing, the National Transportation Railroad crossing, just to the west of that area. Meeting House Brook in this location does not contain any alluvial floodplain soils or abutting vegetated wetlands. In this location, we have a water course or the resource area that's bounded by the ordinary high water line to Meeting House Brook. Additionally, the water course has been manipulated pretty significantly over time. And as you can see, I guess I can actually, I want to just interject for a moment. Would it be helpful to share our screen here, or how would you like to see these materials? I can speak to the site conditions a little bit more specifically. If it suits you, I'm happy to share my screen, or I can just keep discussing it verbally. It's whatever your preference is.
Wanted to share a screen.
oh,
Would you like to share the screen?
I don't know, I think we had some very good pictures that Aaron had taken, showing the
Okay.
site. I'm not sure how far we need to go with it. You're outside of the wetland, correct?
Correct. Yes. So what's happening is that we're just proposing a clear span over Meeting House Brook. There's no direct wetland disturbance. The area has been analyzed through HECRAS modeling to ensure no modification to the existing floodplain. There is a Meeting House Brook in this area, drains about a little over a 3 square mile watershed. So there is a mapped floodplain, 100-year floodplain and 500-year floodplain in this location, but we cited the bridge to obviate any work within the floodway, extended the span to the maximum extent of 85 feet, clear span, and have conducted modeling through the HECRAS to ensure no rise in the base flood elevation. So the actual work that's within your jurisdiction is comprised of 2,000 square feet of ultimate review area disturbance. On one side of the street, we're looking at modification of the existing lawn area, and the other side is the concrete parking lot for the parking lot of the concrete facility to the north. So the bridge itself will span approximately 370 square foot of the brook, which has existing engineered banks in our work area. It seems that you guys have a good understanding of the project, so we're pleased to answer any questions you may have, or I can get into greater detail about the site design. We're obviously going to have sedimentation and erosion control during construction. We have various very tight spatial limitations in terms of this 85-foot span, 24.5 feet wide. The work itself will be comprised of the installation of the abutments, which will take about a week on either side, so we're limited temporally. So we're not looking at significant adverse modification to Meeting House Brook in this location. Be pleased to.
Okay, All right, you're getting some feedback, so I'm not getting a total benefit of your speech to me. Maybe it's just my hearing. But I think it's kind of a basic application. Isn't it a basic project?
That's correct.
If it's a basic project, then I want to see if the commissioners have had any questions regarding it. Nick, you got any issues, Nick?
No, I don't, Jim. I'm familiar with the area. That's,
You're very familiar, right? You worked out of that neck of the woods for a while,
yeah, so,
right in behind the heliport.
yeah,
That's the vicinity where the old railroad crossing came into Grossman's, right? In that area?
yes.
Correct.
Right there.
Exactly.
Right there. All right, Debbie, you got any concerns?
No, no questions.
Okay, Ally,
No, I'm good.
you good? How about Ron?
That looks good from here. No questions.
No questions. Right. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I do actually have a question for the two engineers representing the applicant. I guess that you've both seen my suggested conditions of approval that went out in my environmental planners report dated July 10. That you received last Friday. Did you see both conditions of approval? Megan and Kishore?
Karen, I don't believe I have seen those conditions, no.
I haven't seen it either.
Well, I gave it to, I know John Gavin got it, United Concrete. John, the applicant got it on Monday. He said he was going to email it to you.
I did. I received the fax and I scanned it and sent it over to the Kishore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who just said that? I don't know. Oh, John, I
Hold
didn't,
on,
no, you're
hold
there.
on.
Sorry.
I'm still figuring this
Don't
out.
see your face.
Hold on. I'm
Let's
still
see your
pressing
name.
buttons. Hold on. Is that better?
We hear you. We don't see your face.
Hold on. I'm still figuring out, but I did receive your fax and I scanned it and sent it over to Kishore.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
What were the two conditions, Aaron?
Oh, well, one was our standard erosion control condition. But the second one is what I wanted to ask you about. The second one says water and sewer division concerns are complied with as per Eric Kruger's memorandum dated June 30th, 2020, attached to this notice of decision. So I hope all of three of you got a copy of his memorandum. We discussed it on site. I know Kishore and John, we talked about it when we were on the site together.
Yeah,
Okay, what I haven't heard back from you, if what he was saying, what Mr. Kruger was saying presented any issues. He was talking about all sorts of state easements and sewer easements. Did you get a chance to look at that?
yes, we did, and we are okay with that. We can work with that.
So they're not, it's not prohibitive. It's not prohibitive.
No, it's not.
All right, good, thank you.
We are not going to affect the sewer main or the sewer manholes because we're spanning over the bridge, and they should still have access underneath the bridge, so they should be okay.
And the state easement?
The state, we're with outside the state
We're
easement.
outside of that.
Do you know what that state easement was? It was confusing to me. What are they? what
I think
concerned with?
I think I can shed some light. So when they put the railroad in, there were some improvements made to the stream from 20 years ago when the sewer main ran out, when it got gutted, and the town of Wallingford went in and fixed it up. And I think the DEP held some dissent over that. So what they wanted was a maintenance easement to go in and repair the stream. That was what they wanted the easement for. So they can go in there and fix up the stream if it needed to be for that 50, 60 feet where it is.
Have they been back to fix it up? I don't think it requires maintenance, does it, really?
No, you saw it. basically dry.
Okay, thank
So-
you.
Yep.
Okay, commissioners, any other comments? Is there any comments from the public? If not, I'll entertain a motion regarding significant activity.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that application A20-6.3, 454 Main Street and 120 Church Street, Meeting House Brook, United Concrete Products, be deemed not a significant activity.
Is there a second?
Chairman, I'm going to abstain because I wasn't at the last meeting. One of the alternates that was there.
Okay,
Ally,
so I'm still looking for a second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? It calls for a vote. Debbie,
Yes.
Ally,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and me. Thank you. And Pat, yes. Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny this application.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that application A20-6.3, 454 Main Street and 120 Church Street, Meeting House Brook, United Concrete Products, be approved as submitted with the conditions of approval set forth in the planner's report of July 10th, 2020.
Motion made, second.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any discussion? Call for a vote. Debbie,
Yes.
Ally,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, there isn't any new business as such, but there is quite a few new applications associated with it. We'll take a run at them because we can probably, well, we'll just take a run at them. Application 826.4, 40 Wall Street in Wharton Brook. This is an above-ground pool. Aaron, you've reviewed this and you feel administration approval is fine.
Yes.
Hold on, you're muted. Hold on.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
You're good.
That was already approved. Yes, administratively.
it's already approved. So just let the commission know that that's been approved. Okay, A26.5, 6 Jody Drive, fencing. That again was requested for administration approval, and Aaron felt it was able to be done. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yes, and that was approved in June 22nd.
Okay, I'm just gonna take down, there's another administration approval. I'm gonna take care of that at the moment. A26.8, 72 Anderson Road, in-ground pool. That's was requested, and Aaron felt that could be approved also, and it was done. All right, now going back up to A26.6, 6 Grebe Trail, Tyler Sweeney. Now,
Can you hear me?
yes, there we go. Now we even see you.
Okay, yep.
To let the commission know, this is where he excavated an area for a patio and took the spoils and filled an adjoining wetland to the property. Aaron's been working with him on it, but the gentleman has removed some of the material, but Aaron feels there's a lot more material that should come out of there. So go ahead, Mr. Sweeney.
So are we talking about the fill or the patio? I just want to be clear.
I believe we're talking about the fill, correct, Aaron?
Well, Mr. Sweeney.
Was requested to apply for his half-made patio, half-completed patio, and he has done so. Down below, later on the agenda, under violations, we are still dealing with that violation. So I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if you want to take it up later under violations or to talk about both now.
Well, is the patio installed now?
No.
It's just excavated. Okay. Aaron, do you want to handle them as one or two?
Well, I want to be clear, that's a new application, so we typically wouldn't approve it on the first night that it's received. Unless it was administrative, then it would have already been approved, but this is
All
not
right,
administrative. So,
you did, maybe I missed it. Do you have an environmental report on this application?
no, I did not make an environmental report. I kind of ran out of time. I'm reporting now, though. I did go out to the site last week. I met with Mr. Sweeney out there. He had requested, if you recall, at the last meeting on June 3rd, Mr. Sweeney requested that I come out there with a shovel and
Now, are you talking about the patio or are you talking about the violation?
I'm talking about the fill that's in the swamp.
No, that's the violation. Get back up to the patio because that's the application.
Okay, the patio is just your basic patio. I have no trouble with it being approved. Typically, we don't approve it on the first, we wait a month. We don't approve it when it's just come in. So just like all the others there, they don't get approved unless it's what's called administrative.
Okay, so this is really the submitting of the application.
Correct.
Okay, I understand that. All right, so the commission at least knows that there's a patio in the works. We'll save the rest of the violations.
Okay.
Okay, going on to 826.7, 17 Fritz Place, Mr. Ricky. This is a two-car garage that's close to the wetlands and a brook on the neighbor's property, correct?
The stream, yes, yeah.
Okay. Going down to A 27.1, 5 and 21 College Road, Pfizer. This is soil remediation project. This is being requested by DEEP.
Yeah, they're involved. This is the Amtech property, but the violation is by Pfizer. So that's why they're getting involved as the applicant.
All right, application A 27.2, 59 Woodings Road, in-ground pool, patio surrounding fencing.
Yeah, that
This-
just came in 2 days ago, so.
Okay. Is that a potential for administration approval?
It might be, I haven't gone out there yet.
That's fine, might be, that's a good enough.
When I go out there, I will know.
Okay, A 27.3, 122 Chimney Hill Road. This is an after-the-fact filing for an ATV track. This was approved administratively yesterday?
Yesterday, and that's because at the June 3rd meeting, the consensus was it could be approved administratively if the owner went to the trouble of applying for an after-the-fact permit for an ATV track. And as you know, the fee for the permit doubles if it's an after-the-fact. And the commission doesn't always take after the fact, but in this case they did. So now it's all set. He's applied. We got the application and the check on Tuesday, and we're all set.
A, application A 27.4, 809 North Main Street Extension, David T. Warren Family Trust. This is the Wallingford Funeral Home, correct?
Yes, that came in yesterday.
And this is just a storage garage and stormwater management.
Yes.
Have you know any more about it than that?
It just came in yesterday. Yeah, there's a lot more, but I think it can wait.
Okay. The commissioners just like to know the reason you haven't got 7, 8, and 9 in your packet from the weekend is the fact that they came in Monday, Tuesday.
Right.
and-
Because the deadline is the Tuesday before the meeting. So it's always the night
So-
before the meeting.
So going on, reports and communication, I'm gonna hold that one for a moment. Notice of violation. 1245 Old Colony Road in Quinnipiac River. Unpermitted fill. Aaron, you were gonna go visit that today?
Yes, I did go out there today. And I do have photographs.
Well, what did you find?
Well, I found the erosion is a lot worse, as it would be. As each successive storm comes and erodes this earth and fill project out there. But the good news was they told me to put a silt fence in a month ago. They were late, like by 4 months. Turns out they did put a silt fence in. It's holding in in half of it's holding, the other half was never trenched in or has failed. And there's a lot of erosion out there. So there we are with that. What is holding? Well, the commission can have them remove the road fill. I would like them to do so. Why they're holding, and the commission has talked about this, and yes, that road was built where it shouldn't have been built. I guess it should come out. The owner's response is yes, but I'm waiting for planning and zoning to tell me where the rest of the fill should come out, because there's a tremendous amount of fill located in the 100-year floodplain, and that's what he's waiting for. He wants to do it all at once and use part of that road to haul out all this fill. So we're still waiting on planning and zoning, and as you may or not know, the town planner was on maternity leave for 3 months. She actually came back about 10 days ago, so we'll get that. Hopefully that'll get moving with that.
Okay, notice of violation, 950 South Colony Road, INRSJ LLC, unpermitted filling. Well, excuse me, before I start that, is anybody from 1245 Old Colony here?
No, I didn't expect them.
Okay, then we'll go on to 950 South Colony Road. Baron, what's the status at this point?
Okay, nothing has happened. I've been out there with the acting town planner, Tom Talbot, oh gosh, about 2 months ago. We went out there, took more photographs. The owner did take a few of the couches out, some of the chairs, couches, papers out of there. But there remains, all that fill remains there. And the trees are, I hope they're not going to be, there's about 5 trees that will die if that fill doesn't come out soon. Maybe it's too late, I don't know. Okay, now that what's holding that up, which I can see the owner's attorney is here, and is the owner here?
Yes, the owner is here.
I thought I saw his name before.
Yeah, he's up on the top.
And the owner's engineer is here, so
Yes.
they can address this, but what was holding it up is that planning and zoning sent them a notice of violation regarding the filling of the floodplain. And then the planning and zoning gave him 30 days more to apply that. And then they asked their engineer to reply to that filling in the floodplain, and all that held everything up. But the engineer this week has, I got a fax from the owner and from the engineer, George Cotter, who is here somewhere tonight. I saw his name there. That he can speak to. He did an analysis about whether or not there's any compensatory flood storage there on the property where they could compensate for this filling in the floodplain. But maybe even before, I would like to make a statement from my position is clearly just get the fill out. There's no reason that fill should be there. I feel it would never have been approved if they had come in the proper procedure to ask for that road and fill to be deposited there. So I would like to see it all come out, and maybe Mr. Cotter could present his findings.
I think it's Mr. Carson might be here tonight. Well, let's hear from the applicant.
This is Norman Fishbein speaking on behalf of Mr. Paul, who is present. And I just wanted to indicate to the commission that originally I was told to contact the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I did so, and as Aaron has already indicated, the planner was on leave. And then I did speak to Amy Torrey this past Monday, because my understanding was that Planning and Zoning had to deal with this first. She then told me that now they've decided it has to come back to inland wetlands. So I asked Mr. Carson to appear tonight to explain his position with respect to whether it might do more damage to take the fill out and what the ramifications are with respect to the floodplain. So he has the technical information, and I would ask the commission to entertain his remarks at this time.
No problem. Go ahead, Mr. Carson. I think we need Mr. Carson.
Well, he's there. His mic, that mic is on.
George, he's on George.
Is that George?
Dave, you there, Dave?
He's not
Or is
muted.
it George Cotter?
Yeah, well, I saw that ring of smoke going up earlier. That's a Carson
Oh, you know
ring of
what it
smoke.
looks like.
David, you awake? I think, Norman, you
I don't
better call
see
their office
Carson.
and get David to pay attention.
What's he
Well,
saying?
he's got a paper there. David?
Well,
Move it to the center.
he's got to move it that way.
Move it over.
Can I just pick it up? Can't you
Yeah,
stand-
there you go.
Audio bit went out 10 minutes ago.
What?
His audio went out 10 minutes ago. He can call in.
Use your cell phone. Use your cell phone.
We gotta give him the number probably. You see the chat? You can have the phone number, they can chat.
He
maybe.
can use the chat. He can use the chat.
Okay. What? You hear him ring now?
I do not know what's wrong. Can you dial it in, please?
Oh, here.
Yeah,
Got him?
right. Dial it in,
We hear
please.
you. We hear him.
We hear you, Dave.
Sorry? Now we can hear you, I think.
I think you're hearing Mr. Kamal.
You want to talk to him?
If everybody could make sure they're muted when they're not speaking.
Mark, ask him if he, no, now he's muted.
You want me to
Mark,
call?
Mark, ask him if he can call in. You got him on the phone, right?
He said he could not hear him or something. Hold on.
Call him and ask him.
I just talked to him.
Well, call him back and ask him to call in. There's a
I tried to
telephone.
call him that he can dial it in if he can. He's trying to dial it in.
Yeah, he can dial it in. We have a number
Sorry?
for him.
Sure, sure. Dave, you need to call it in, my friend. They're waiting for you.
I was right in the middle of doing called me and took me out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll wait for you. Yeah, okay then. Thank you. He's trying to dial it in. He said I cut him off. He's dialing it.
Mike again.
There you go.
Norman, do you want us to move on until you can get Dave up and running?
Okay, I am here.
Oh,
There you
Dave's on.
okay, thank
Okay,
you.
so, sorry about that, folks.
David, I don't know whether you heard anything up until now, but I indicated to the commission that you had submitted the report and that I was asking you to explain to them what your feelings are with respect to whether fill should be removed, et cetera. So we were expecting you to participate now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you're correct. We did an existing condition survey of the unpermitted fill. We were able to compare that to our existing topo that we had done, the original site plan approval. So there's 170 cubic yards of material that was placed within the 50-foot buffer. It is all outside the actual wetlands, but of that 170 cubic yards, there's approximately 50 cubic yards that actually fall in the 100-year flood limit. In looking at different alternatives and inspecting the material, it appears to be mostly 3 to 6 inch rock. The slope is totally stable, no signs of any erosion or siltation. It was our feeling that the actual removal of this material had the potential to create more damage than leaving it in, and we were looking for some possible mitigation measures to leave it in place. The sort of the chicken and the egg thing here, we subsequently wrote a report analyzing the 50 cubic yards of material that was in the floodplain. The floodplain here is like 500 feet wide. It's really massive. And our conclusion was that the 50 cubic yards would have zero impact on the flood elevation, but we realized that that is a planning issue, not an inland wetlands issue. And I had suggested to Attorney Fishbein that we could seek a determination from planning as to whether that 50 cubic yards could be left in place. And if it could, then the decision as to far as the removal of the material or mitigation will be back on this commission's table. It really isn't possible just to remove the 50 yards. It's down the bottom of the slope. The rest of the slope would just slough down into where you tried to remove it. So that's pretty much where we are. We did see Aaron's initial report, some additional discussions with Attorney Fishbein and the client. We agreed that in order to prohibit any future dumping in there, that just planting some evergreens and a guide rail wouldn't do the trick. We would need to put a fence across there. So with regard to that, I believe the applicant would be willing to do that. What other additional measures the commission might think are appropriate if they were of a mind to leave the fill in place would be up to you.
Well, my comments would be, first of all, you say it's 3 to 5 inch rock. I don't know how your row of trees are going to grow into 3 and 5 inch rock. Second of all, you may only have 50 yards in the floodplain, but your damage is done to the 5 trees that you've encompassed with surrounding rock chest high or higher. So the issues you think aren't a major issue to the floodway or the floodplain, we feel has some major issues to the trees that are there and the activity that's going on.
Yeah, yes, we would agree. We did identify on a mitigation plan. There are 2 large trees up toward the top of the fill area, pretty much almost on the fringe of the 50-foot buffer, which based on inspection, we believe that they could be hand dug around and that those trees could be salvaged. Obviously, the smaller ones that are down near the toe of the slope, those would ultimately die. We suspect that the same thing might happen or probably would happen if you went in there with a machine to excavate out the material. So possibly planting some new vegetation, as Aaron has suggested, might be some viable mitigation if the fill was to be left in place.
Is that your suggestion, Aaron, is to plant additional trees and leave the fill in place?
No, that was from my environmental flash report.
Hold on, Aaron, you're muted. Hold on. Can you unmute? There you go.
I apologize. In my original environmental planners report back in April, May, yes, I said, if you remove the fill, then you can restore the forest on the slope with new plantings. And you can put plantings up above if you like.
Well, that doesn't seem to be what they indicated. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong, but your position is the fill should come out of
Yes, one guidepost we use in this, over the years, we've developed this understanding or this way of looking at it is, we look at it, would we have approved, would the commission have approved this if it had come in the traditional legal way, an application? So maybe the commission should ask themselves, would they approve the construction of a road, the removal of several mature trees, then growing on top of the slope, then a construction of a road and a fill all the way down the slope? Why would somebody build a road behind a car wash? You can't access that road from the car wash driveway. So you've got this mysterious, inappropriate road running from straight across the car wash property back in the woods. So one would have to ask oneself, why was this built, and would the commission have approved it going with fill right up to within 1 foot of the wetland floodplain? And beside that, you don't, in 2020, we don't allow filling of floodplains. This is not something that's done unless one can provide compensatory flood storage. That was down on 76-90 South Turnpike. They provided compensatory flood storage for a small area of floodway that they wanted to encroach upon. So it is possible, not on this property. I think they looked and they couldn't find any, at least Mr. Carson hasn't mentioned if they could find any anywhere on this property. It's a very large property and they couldn't find any because it's mostly floodplain in the back there. And the car wash was built in the front of the property.
So we are in the middle of planning and zoning and your applicant, Mr. Fishbein. It's enormous.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Fishbein, can you state over again? I didn't have you opened up.
Oh, okay. I was originally told it was going to planning and zoning first, as I said before, and then Amy Torrey and I spoke on Monday, and she said, no, it's coming back to inland wetlands. So in respect to your question, yes, because planning and zoning is saying they want you to deal with it first.
Well, I gather Aaron's opinion is to take it out. So that can go back to planning and zoning in that respect. I mean, it depends. Is that what you're looking for? A vote from us?
Well, we're not asking you to require that be taken out. We would rather go with some other proposal here, a mitigation or some other way to approach it, because taking it out, in the opinion of our engineer, could do more damage to the slope. And I spoke with Erin and she said, well, it's easy to figure out what was put there. I don't know that it's so easy to figure out what was put there. But I mean, that's an issue that the contractor would have to deal with when you require that it be taken out.
Okay, let me poll the commissioners. I'm going to ask the commissioners, what is their feeling on this application? I think there's two choices. One is take the fill out, or two, try to come up with some solution and leaving maybe the bulk of the fill there. Debbie?
I'd say take the fill out.
Nick?
I don't agree with Debbie. I believe the fill should stay there. They should put a fence up to prevent it happening again, because I agree with Dave, the type of soil that's out there, you start taking that bony rock stuff out and you're gonna have a mess. You're gonna have an erosion problem. And unfortunately, Dave says it's not gonna affect the floodplain area. I agree with them, but I believe it has to stop. So I'm in favor of having the fence put in, just to stop everybody from throwing stuff back there. A page fence, which would catch all the garbage that comes off of Colonie Street and runs behind the car wash or alongside of it. That would be a two-factor here. You know, as far as sanitary, we wouldn't have trash down there, people throwing tires down there or whatever's there. And the other effect would be, it's the end of it. It's going to stop. It's only my main reason for this is because of the types of soil that sit there. We've all been out there and saw that it's a sandy soil that you just look at it, it starts rolling. And with the pitch that's out there, it's there's nothing you can do. You're just going to open up a big hole and have a lot of mess to stabilize. It's going to be almost impossible to stabilize it. So I'm in favor of the fence, and it has to stop.
Ally?
I think that the trees that were there prior, they're gonna die or are they dead yet? Aaron, I haven't been out there since, I think, before winter,
They weren't
so
dead when
Oh, she's on.
you're muted. Oh, there you go.
they were still alive a month ago when I was.
So I think that Phil should probably come out.
Okay, all of it or just around the trees? I don't care which, I just needed,
Yeah, I think that, we still have to consider the floodplain, that, that ends up causing problems all upstream. And, it should probably all come out. The fence is a neat idea to prevent more damage, but it was the neighbors who came in and did stuff too. And we don't want an opaque fence that people are just gonna throw things behind and then nobody's gonna see all the stuff that's thrown back there afterwards.
okay. Robert?
I think it should come out. You had some type of soil there beforehand that was staying there before with no problem. And you throw this, 3-inch rock and what have you over top of it, and nothing's going to grow there. So I'm on the guise of pulling it out and planting it back and try to save those trees.
Okay, Jennifer?
Yeah, I sort of like the fence idea as well, but I feel like the fill needs to come out. I don't know if the trees are going to make it. It sounds like they're currently dying. I don't know if it can be saved, but I think it makes sense to undo what was done and get it out of there.
Okay, I don't like the fill being there either. I don't like the trees dying. But if we can get the fill around, away from the trees, those major oaks, I think they're right high on the fence. I do like the idea of the fence. Fence, if we can keep that traffic from so-called road, with a chain link fence, cage fence, I think Nick made reference to, it certainly would keep all the garbage off of Route 5 from going down there. So I guess I'm in favor of the fence, but with the condition of digging out around those trees, whether hand dug around the trees.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
When I mentioned the trees before, I didn't want to mislead you. Aaron did want the material taken out initially and trees planted, obviously on the slope. I was referring to leaving the material in place and planting trees up on the level area where the so-called road is. There is not going to be any road. Plant some additional trees between the two oaks that I believe can be saved and the fence. There's approximately a 12 to 14-foot level area on the top of the hill that could be reforested behind the fence, but ahead of the slope.
And that is also, I don't want to say virgin material, but natural soil that the trees will be able to grow in.
That's correct.
Well,
Jim,
yes.
Jim, I have a question for Aaron. Aaron, is there any green foliage on these trees? Were they large enough so when the fill went around them, they're still able to survive? The rock material is letting the water give them the drink that they need? Are the trees dying or is there foliage on? Is there leaves on the trees?
I haven't been there in a month. So they had leaves full out, beautiful leaves a month ago. I have not been there in a month. Maybe the owner of the car wash has looked out the back door of the car wash and maybe he could tell us if the trees are good or not good at this time. I think he's here. Mr. Kamal?
Yeah, that trees are good over there, but there are some trees which is really near the pavement. They fall too, they die before even they put that dirt in there. There was other trees which were already dead, which is not even down there, which is right next to the pavement, and they fell in my property. We had to remove it. The other tree, there is no tree. All the trees are good. as per I see. Nothing happened to the trees, whatever.
Sorry, Mark, I couldn't
I think-
understand that. I don't know if the
Let me
commissioners
speak.
could.
I think what he's indicating, there are trees
I don't see
up
any.
on the upper level that have died before the fill was put in there. He thinks that the trees that we're talking about surrounded by the fill are still all green trees.
Mr. Chairman, I can verify that to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, with that recent poll, you've got two-thirds of the group are in favor of taking the material out. So, I mean, we can go to a vote, or you can go to planning and zoning if it comes back here. I'm not sure what your choice is, or what our choice is. Aaron, you don't know for a fact that what planning and zoning is wanting to do with this, correct?
No, by the way, when you say planning and zoning, these things like this don't go to the planning and zoning commission. It's handled by staff, okay? So it's not on any planning and zoning agenda or anything like that. So no, I don't know what they want to do, but to be clear, the fill in the wetland, the fill that's in the floodplain is within the Wetland Commission's jurisdiction. Fill located to within 1 foot of a wetland. It's in the upland review area from about 1 foot from a wetland to about, 20 feet from a wetland. So it's definitely within our jurisdiction. We don't have to wait for planning and zoning to do anything about it. It's only if the fill is not going to be removed, then planning and zoning has a violation on their hands. Actually, right now, they were issued, this property was issued a zoning violation back in, I guess, April or May, I don't know. So they currently have a zoning violation. If the fill's going to stay, they still have to deal with that with planning and zoning. The trees that I'm trying to save are not in the floodplain, they're up above on the upper half of the fill slope, the slope that was filled. They're probably in the middle. They're probably in the middle of that. I don't believe I think they're just out of the floodplain territory. So the fill can be removed around those trees and the rest of it can be decided with the planning department later on. If you want to do that, I'm still scratching my head why we need a road about 100 feet long and 20 feet wide behind the car
Well, is this a
wash.
road, Mr. Fishbein?
Yeah.
It's a designated road for the purpose of the property owner.
Now, what it is, my understanding is when Mr. Colonie bought the property, the next door neighbor had the right of way to traverse from the property to the north of this to property that I believe he owned to the south of this. And there was nothing there. It was a right of way. So it isn't a road for the benefit of the property owner. And my client tells me that it was filled in by the next door neighbor. I know it's on his property and I understand all that, but it's of no benefit for him to have a road. It's not even really a road, but a filled in area across the back of the property. So to answer your question, it was not for his benefit now.
All right, so whatever happens here, this pathway will be shut down?
Is
that the intent of what's
last
going
time-
on?
I think Aaron can probably comment on this. I think the last time I was down there, aren't there barriers or blocks that have been put at the north end of this, Aaron?
There's, maybe 3 Jersey barriers that can be removed.
Yeah, it's hard for me to hear you, but yes.
Oh, I'm
So-
sorry.
You know, that was
My mic was.
All right, but there was talk about a fence, there was talk about planting, there was talk about a lot of things. That's going to eliminate this pathway. I don't want to call it a road.
Now, the fencing, as I'm understanding it, would be running from north to south along the east border of this top of the hill. Because I think the intent here is so that people don't drive into the property and throw things down the hill. So that would be a fence, my understanding, Mr. Carson can probably confirm this, is it would run from the north end of the property to the south end of the property. Is that correct? I don't know if you can, yeah. The barriers that are there sit on the north end of the so-called right-of-way or roadway there, so that nobody coming from the property to the north will have access to come across the back of this property. But the fence would be running along the back boundary to prevent people from throwing things over down the hill.
Okay. All right, commissioners, have we got a handle on what's going on here with planning and zoning and not? Because if we wait for a proposal from planning and zoning, we're talking about 6 weeks. If we take a position tonight, at least planning and zoning knows where our position is. We have a couple of options. One is to take all the fill out. One is to take enough fill out to take it out of the floodplain. And a third one, I think, is take the fill out around the trees and leave the rest of the fill there and let planning and zoning decide with it. So I think at this time I'm going to entertain a motion to some direction. So if somebody would like to make a motion, and we will see where it takes us.
Debbie, you waiting for me to make the motion?
Anyone can make a motion that would like to.
All right, Jim, I would like to make a motion that Aaron goes out there and looks and see if the trees that are there or have foliage on them. That means they've accepted the fill around them. And if need be, then take have the fill around the trees shoveled off of them, either removed to the upper part of the hill or just relocated on the bank, because Dave said it's stony material. Have those open back up so they get the proper drinkage they need for the rain or whatever. And then I would make a motion. I'd also like to see a fence put in place and some type of a barrier so that that road will not be used in the future for any purpose, because it's just going to cause havoc for everybody. The fence is going to be the most important, because then people can't back in there and throw stuff after hours down the bank, like tires and couches and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if everybody agrees with me. It's hard for me to understand why you want to take all the fill out when the trees seem to survive the impact of the bony material that was put around them. But I'm not against it, because this is like taking, giving the tree a Band-Aid to heal if it is damaged. So I just, that's the motion I'm making. I don't know if anybody else wants to go along with it or.
Okay. A motion made. Hang on just a minute here. We need a little recharge on the other side. Okay, Nick, just to summarize the motion, just because we had a little lie on my end. Motion to leave the fill and or open up around the trees, and then a fence up on top of the slope.
Right, and then a barricade, some way that there's no future use to the road that was put in. I mean, I don't know if you want to have, Aaron wants to have some trees planted there. But that'll work. I'm agreeable to that. That's it's called remediation.
Okay, is there a second, Norman? Wait a second.
Second.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
You second the motion. Okay, any discussion?
Comment that as part of the motion, you can't stop the right of way from being used, because that's a land use that's already on the deed. We put up barriers, or somebody put up barriers, so it won't be used, but to require that the right of way not be used as part of your motion is not going to be legally possible. I just want to make that clear to the commission as they go forward here.
And take it out.
Oh.
Take the road out.
Oh.
Well, so this would have been an issue if the owner planted trees in that area. Well, And the right of way existed even before the so-called road or whatever it is, the bench or fill area was put in place.
Yes,
So
it's a right of way that-
I'm not really sure. I understand we can't insist a right of way not be used. That makes total sense. But I'm not really sure why it was filled or who it was filled by, because we weren't really clear on that. If it was a neighbor who has the right of way or if it wasn't. But you know, it wasn't filled before, and I don't see why it's filled now and why it needs to stay that way.
Well, if you put an obstruction in front of a right of way and the owner of that right of way goes to court in the future, the court will not allow that right of way to be blocked. So I just want to make clear to the commission that I don't want them to consider something that I think is going to be legally unenforceable in the future. So I just want to be on the record for that purpose.
Makes sense.
right,
So
now-
by planting trees though on that area, as was suggested before by Attorney Fishbein, that would also block the right of way.
If you're talking about trees that are going to block the entrance to that right of way, let's say the north end of it, you cannot legally leave those there. Trees that would be planted along the east border of, let's say, this property or this raised area there, as long as it doesn't impede the right of way, are fine. But you can't put an obstruction in front of the right of way, in my opinion, that a court would allow to remain should somebody go to court. And again, I'm just trying to clarify what I believe before you make your motion so that, you know, it isn't a surprise later on.
Is this right away for pedestrian use or vehicle use?
It's I frankly, I don't have the copy of it in front of me. I would suspect that it probably allows right of way by foot and vehicle. I don't really know at this point because I didn't know that would be an issue tonight. But it probably allows vehicle as well as pedestrian.
If I may, the easement doesn't specify its use, and you should be aware of the fact that this easement extends all the way from the paved area on the car wash totally across the floodplain to the rear property line. This is not like a 10-foot easement for vehicles. This easement is like 600 feet wide.
I would really like to see a map of that. If we can get a map of that by, say, next meeting.
Well, there is no specific map. It is a written description, and the written description is from the curb line of the existing pavement that's there across the floodplain to the easterly boundary line of the property, which is some 600 feet away.
Maybe if we
It's
saw
a
a
right of
drawing.
access. It's a right of access.
Okay, hang on a minute. Let me throw a little fuel in this fire. The fill line is, looking at these papers, are somewhere in a 25 foot wide area. It's not a 10-foot wide strip. Now, let me ask you, is the right of way, the easement that was given, is it on a map where it's located? Or is it just say that the budding property owner has a right to travel across my property? Because if it doesn't specify where the fill is, that doesn't mean it has a right to be there. Because he could have gone down the paved parking lot of the car wash.
I don't have that information tonight because I didn't know that we'd be talking about that. But I'm sure that we can provide the commission a copy of the document, deed, whatever it is, so that you would have the exact description of what the right of way is.
Would you like me to read it to you, the description?
Oh, okay, good.
Said premise are subject to a right of way by foot or vehicle over that strip of land, 227.81 feet in length, running along the easterly property line at a width determined by using the existing paved curb line as the western boundary of said right-of-way in favor of 920 South Colonie Road. All as shown or to be shown on a map describing said right-of-way prepared by the seller. So there's supposed to be a map where this right of way goes, this easement goes.
Mr. Chairman, a map was never prepared.
Ah, the old famous never prepared map trick.
So excuse me, the property itself is the 227 feet wide. So that's
Wide?
north, south.
Wide? Now, what
Yeah.
do you mean by wide? North, south,
North,
east, or west?
north, south.
Okay,
That's the 227, traversing the property from north to south. The east-west dimension, which isn't specified, is from the pavement to the westerly property line.
which
It's
pavement?
The pavement behind the car wash.
Oh, behave behind the car wash, not starting from Route 5?
No, starting from the curb line at the back of the car wash, going westerly across the floodplain to the westerly property line, which is on the other side of the river, 600 feet away.
But now, this 920 South Colony, that's the car wash, correct?
No,
Yeah.
920 South Colony is the piece to the north.
Okay. All right, in favor of nine, I got it.
This is 950 is the car wash.
Well,
Dave Carson misspoke. He meant to the east. Said to the west. Dave, you meant to the east? I
You
think
said
wrong.
to the westerly boundary, you mean the easterly boundary, Dave.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
easterly boundary, yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So I think, Mr. Fishbein, you have a good point in the fact that it may not stand up in court, but I don't think without a map on a map, you could have a easement anywhere you wanted it to be. So it would
That
stand up in
certainly
court,
sounds
but you
like
don't
the
have a
entire
dedicated
property is
easement.
covered by the easement.
Well, I'm giving you my feelings on the issue and so that you're informed about it before you decide if you're gonna take a position, that's all.
All right, we're heading in a spiral here, and I don't want to do that. So there's a motion made and seconded. It's got a few bugs in it with this blocking that no one can travel over this protected easement. If Debbie would remove her second and either Nick remove its first and start over again, or if we want to let this get to planning and zoning and have Aaron do some work with planning and zoning on it, so we can get a better handle on what this description, the applicant then can fight out where this easement went and try to get a handle on that. How's that sound, everybody?
Okay.
Okay, so,
Jim,
so Deb, you're withdrawing your second.
Yeah, I'll withdraw my second.
Nick, will you withdraw yours first?
I'm going to withdraw my whole motion
motion.
because I'd like to have this application tabled, Jim, until we can get all the, it should have been right from the beginning. We should have had a map showing us how the easement was plotted on the plan so we could see. So if Mr. Carson is aware, we need that easement boundary. I don't know if that be you or the original, the owner, who it was, but I'd like to see a map of what that easement consists of.
I agree with you. So, Mr. Fishbein, is your client understanding where we're going with this now? Is it decent direction?
He's been listening and I'm assuming that he does, and he and I will have a conversation tomorrow with Mr. Carson, I'm sure.
Okay.
But my understanding is it's going to be tabled until September, and you're going to want a map in the interim to show where the right of way is. Is that correct?
Well, until we can get a handle on this and show where the right of way is and what you filled and so on and so forth. Yes, hang on just a minute, though. No.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know.
Go ahead.
They can hear me? Okay, my laptop is run out of batteries, but I would say, there was no map recorded. We tried to find it. The town clerk could not find it.
They admitted it.
Okay, so they can't, how could Dave Carson draw it if map? But the other thing I like to say is maybe we could just figure out around these trees, those 5 trees, so they can live. If we wait till September meeting, it would be October, till the trees get dug out. So maybe we could just have them dig around the trees, help those trees. That's my,
How about a good faith effort in that, Mr. Fishbein?
Is that are there 2 trees? I just want to know which ones we're
I
talking
think there's
about.
5. Aaron can go down and flag them or point them out to him.
5. All right, Mark, can you hear me? Mark, I don't know if he can hear me. Mark, can you hear me? All right.
Yes, I can hear you.
What they're suggesting is there are 5 trees there that may be in jeopardy, and Aaron would come down and as a good faith effort, we would dig around those trees to try to preserve their integrity. Is that okay?
Sure, I need to know which one are those, and definitely.
Right, Aaron will come down and do it with you. He'll show you which ones, okay? So are you agreeing to that for the record?
Definitely, I'm agree to that, definitely.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right.
All right, then we continue this in September, if not sooner. I'm sure you'll be working on it.
Okay. May I leave the meeting? Is the meeting over for us?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, going on to the next violation is 6 Grebe Road, Tyler Sweeney.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Okay. Should I start or should Aaron?
Well, as the, just for a refresher course, it was noticed that there was material dumped in a wetland, I think on your budding property owner. Aaron has been out there talking with you about it. You removed some of it, but there was a discussion last meeting on how much is still left there. She went out, she determined that there's still a considerable amount still left there and would like it removed. So you can go ahead.
Okay, so like I told you guys in the last meeting last month, I was able to easily calculate how much I removed from the yard. I dug up 7 cubic yards, dumped it in the wetlands. Aaron made me aware of what I was doing was not allowed. I immediately stopped. The next day, I removed 12 yards of fill that was dumped. Talked to Erin, she came back out, inspected it, said that she wasn't happy with it and to remove 6 more inches. So I did exactly that. The next day I removed 6 more inches. Erin came back out and decided that that wasn't enough at that point and started picking spots, 2 inches here, 4 inches here, 6 inches here, need to come out. I recommended that we put stakes down and mark each location how much to take it down so that I can know exactly how much in each location and that we also have some kind of ground of, when she comes back, it's not the same thing that we've been doing of, okay, take out 4 more inches. I wanted to get some kind of ground of exactly how much to remove in each location. Last time too, I did speak of some pictures that I took that I wasn't able to share. I didn't have my camera working last time, but in this picture, you can see that this was taken the day that Aaron made me aware of the fill. And this was taken after removing the 12 yards.
Tyler.
Yep.
The one in your right hand, take that off the screen and get rid of that one.
Okay.
And the one in your left hand, show that because they were getting, now show everybody. Okay.
So that was after removing the 12 yards. Then, like I said, Aaron came back, said 6 more inches. I removed that the following day. And I guess where we left off last time we spoke last week was she recommended that the commission come out, inspect it, and hopefully we can come to some kind of level plane of how much to remove for one final time to clean this up. Just because I did voice to Aaron that it is very difficult to, go 2 weeks and then remove 6 more.
All right,
So,
let's pick a date here, Aaron, for that. Commissioners, is the commissioners in favor of having a site investigation there?
Yeah, I think so, Jim. I'm willing to go out there, but I think Erin's off the line. She said her battery went dead, so I don't think she's listening.
She's
Yeah, she's listening. She's right next to me.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'll go.
All right, everybody will go now. Last thing in the afternoon,
Yeah, as late as possible would be great.
what is late for you?
I know you guys usually leave at like 5, so I mean, if we can do, 4:15, 4:30, I can make that work with my schedule.
Okay, 4:30 is okay, 5 o'clock is okay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make you guys stay any later than you have to, so we could do 4:30. I can make that work.
All right, so.
We're all volunteers and we have day jobs too, so late's okay for us too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever you guys. What's that?
Ally, you want 4:30 or 5? Ally?
Me, I'm working from home, so I'm actually flexible now.
Okay. All right, so it's 4:30 on what day?
That's completely up to you guys. I'll make my schedule work around it.
Okay, is Wednesday a good day for everybody?
The 22nd?
Good for me.
Good for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
July
I'm not gonna be
22nd,
around.
4:30?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be there, so on the 22nd.
Have you got a better day, Robert?
I'm just curious. I kind of want to hear Erin explain, what is going on and compare the two before we start going out and look at this gentleman's property. So I'd like to hear from Erin what seems to be the issue. This gentleman has been compliant with her demands. So I'd like to know exactly what is going on from Erin's point of view.
Okay, but you don't want to have a site investigation?
I do not want to have a site investigation. Just I want this clarified before we have a site investigation, if we need one.
Okay. Aaron? Where's my Aaron?
I'm here.
Oh, come on, come on. All right. All right. Robert wants an explanation of what you found in the original bill and what is the recommendation today and why a site investigation is necessary.
Okay. When the notice of violation went out to you all, there is a photograph attached to the back of the violation that shows this pile of fill, which the owner says is 70 cubic yards. Maybe it is. So let's say 70 cubic yards. It's in a swamp. It's in a cabbage swamp. So if you go out there, you can see it very plainly. The owner removed some fill and then planted grass seed. So now if you go out, you can still see that it's fill material, but there's this, grass is growing maybe 4 inches high, 5 inches high on it. So he also put in silt fencing as I requested, right in the stone cabbages at the bottom. All right. So then when I went out, after the June meeting, I went out, maybe, I don't know, a week ago, 10 days ago, with a shovel, as the owner requested, and I dug down this spot. At the top, it only had 6 inches of fill. All the way at the bottom, maybe had 1.5 feet of fill. And the owner kept on saying, well, but it's a lot of fill for me to remove. It's hard. And how do you tell where to stop? And I said, very easy, because the fill is red soil and the old soil is dark brown, black soil. And the old soil has roots in it and all sorts of humus and little root particles and leaves in it. And the new soil is reddish and fluffy and has no roots in it. So I think it would be very easy for him to tell where that's where the old fill mills meets the new fill. But you have to remember, this is not Mr. Sweeney's property. This is somebody else's property. So he's dumping fill not even on his own property. So that's another reason for the fill to be removed. I'm not an advocate of filling cabbage swamps, stone cabbage swamps. I'm just not in favor of it. I don't care how hard it is to remove the fill. It shouldn't have been in the skunk cabbage swamp in the first place. So that's my position.
Okay, so the bottom line is you're saying the fill that he removed is not enough?
He removed some, yeah. It's not enough. I mean, it's still 1.5 feet of fill at the bottom of down by the swamp.
Okay, all right, then if that's the case, then we'll have to have a site survey and then take it from there.
Is the 22nd at 4:30, okay?
I am not going to be here. I'll be in New York from on Wednesday and Thursday. So anytime before or after that is fine.
Okay, 29th is something going on. You said Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday. That is correct.
How's the 24th with everybody? That's a Friday.
It's not good for me.
Nope. Okay.
It's not good for someone who is at,
Me, it's
Debbie?
not good for me. Yeah,
how about the 21st?
that's good.
Works for me.
Works for me too.
Okay, Jennifer?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, 21st it is, 4:30 at 6 Grebe Trail. Okay, all right, Mr. Sweeney, we'll see you then.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, application A 22.1, 12 and 16 Northfield Road. Over clearing a floodplain. Any issues going on there, Aaron?
Well, we talked about the issues we talked about the issues on this site at the June meeting, and the site's been idle since then.
All right, so nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. Could I bring our attention back to the item number 3 under violations?
Not just yet.
Okay.
Okay, notice of violation 1152 Durham Road. Oh, I jumped one here. First of all, 1103 Old Colonie Road. That's the gas station. So celebrating the 4th of July Town Hall. Okay, Aaron, number 6, 1103 Old Colony.
Yes, I actually was out there today. Nothing's changed, and of course, the commission acted and put a notice of violation on the land records. The law department put it on the land records. I did have a meeting with the corporation council to say, what can we do next? And the next step is to file an injunction with the court. However, the courts are not taking new motions because of the COVID epidemic. Things are backlogged, so they're not even taking a motion. You're not allowed to file, I was told. So she said that what we could do is just go forward with a letter.
Well, whatever she does, some legal manner.
Right. With
Okay,
intent to
all
file.
right, let's move on. Notice of violation, 1152 Durham Road.
Okay, that's a new one. You haven't received that letter yet. I'll be sending it out tomorrow. But the owner was given a verbal notice last week. I went out there in response to complaint of the neighbor. The neighbor at 1168 Durham Road has a beautiful pond. And he's very concerned because his neighbor, Mr. Monaco, has graded off the rear portion of his own property and taken all the trees down and graded right to the stream. And so now we're concerned that soil is going to enter the stream and enter the pond. It's also a violation. You can't grade to within 3 feet of the stream. That's not really a good idea. So I had the owner put in silt fence. However, he did put in the silt fence, except he hasn't towed it in yet. But I'm sure he will.
Okay, all right, you want to go back to number 3, Emily Hill?
Yeah, that one is, I just want the commission, I would like the commission to remove the notice of violation because yesterday administrative approval was granted to retain the ATV track deposit, which is on the upper edge of the upland review area. I want to be clear, it's not along the wetland, it's up on the upper edge of the upland review area. That's why I'm in favor of keeping it there, and I recommended so.
Any commissioners have any problems with removing the notice of violation on that property?
No.
Okay. I hear none, so Aaron, we're instructing you to remove that notice of violation.
Okay, could you take a vote? We're supposed to vote on removal of notice of violations.
All right, Aaron would like a vote on it, so start with Debbie for the removal of the notice of violation.
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Ally,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Mine is yes. Okay, we've gone through the agenda, but I'm back up to reports. The first one is a DEP notice, free online registration. You can work with Aaron on that. The second item on the reports and communication is an issue that has come up before, and we've kind of stayed away from it. But we're getting so many violations at the moment. It was decided to have another discussion regarding finding the violators for the damage that they've done or the violation they have. So there's nothing to decide tonight, but your assignment is to think about, do you want to have fines for violators? And how would the fines be structured based on the violation, what the violation is? That's an issue. Aaron would be issuing the fines and the violation. It would be her total job, her authority. So I'm not going to get into all the different options tonight. I just like to set you in motions to think about if we want to fine. It certainly is. I'm not sure how many fines are ever collected, but it is something that hopefully would deter these people from fining or from violating, if that's the case. So we'll keep that in the communications, and we'll hopefully have another discussion later on, maybe when our agenda is a little lighter and we can spend a few minutes discussing it. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you all for bearing with me, and fortunately, I have an assistant that keeps me on the straight and narrow, but I think if we keep these virtuals up, she's going to bail on me, so I may have to take a night course on this.
That's how family
Okay,
is.
gang.
It's okay.
Good luck,
Have a great,
everybody.
stay safe,
Thank you.
stay safe
Take
and well,
care.
everybody.